Hey there, Dollarwise gamers. This is Justin, and this is Dollarwise Bundle Breakdown. This series aims to look at games that you might receive in bundles and attempts to break down whether the bundle is worth the money. As always, it's not very wise to spend money on games that you will never play, and this metric was designed around the Dollarwise Gamers metric that states for every dollar you spend on a game, you should at least get 1 hour of entertainment out of that game. The point of this metric is not to be a hard, fast rule in all cases, and everyone should support the developers, games, and companies they like. But what we aim to do is hopefully help you weed through many of the bundles and the deals out there and give you a look at some of the ones that have crossed our radar. As always, our opinions are purely our own, and we believe that everyone should make their own decisions about how they spend their hard-earned money. And with that, let's break down today's bundle. Today we're looking at 7 games on the Humble Staff Picks bundle from Nick, Fox I guess, and an engineer at Humble Bundle. If you aren't familiar with Humble Bundle, there is a link in the description. Humble Bundle is one of our favorite bundle sites and features heavily on our podcast. One of the things that makes Humble Bundle unique is that a portion of up to 100% of your purchases go to support charities, and you get to choose how much. The bundles tend to have certain charities selected, but you can also select charities you would like to support as well. This bundle is going to support 2 charities, the Able Gamers Foundation, also known as Able Gamers Charity, which aims to improve the overall quality of life for those with disabilities through the power of video games, and the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, whose mission is to ensure that people affected by MS can live their best lives as they work to stop the disease in its tracks, restore function that has been lost, and end MS forever. As always, I choose to support Charity Water, a nonprofit organization bringing clean and safe drinking water to people in developing countries, and links to all of these charities can be found below. This bundle features games chosen by Nick from Humble Bundle, and was aimed at supporting those suffering with MS, which Nick was recently diagnosed with. Nick, we at Dollarwise Gamers want to let you know that we support you, and we wish you the best as you adjust to this lifestyle change. This bundle features a tiered system that has you receiving more or less of the bundle based on how much you donate. The first tier starts at $1 and includes 3 games: Volume, TIS 100, and Legend of Grimrock 2. So let's get started there. Alright, starting off with Volume. Now, Volume is a single-player stealth action game. It was developed by Bithell Games. They're also the same developer that developed Thomas Was Alone. It released in mid-2015, has a Metascore of 80, a user score of 7.3, and its lowest price, which right now is $4.99. This game has been on previous bundles before, and as such, I already own it, so I have an extra copy, but I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, so just stick around for that, okay? I do like its minimalist quality and the gameplay. The puzzle games like this are nice for short play sessions, and if they have a good story, which this one's okay, they might be fine to try to complete. This one seemed fine for a while, and it does have voice acting, but it kind of went quiet for a few levels, and I'm also not a huge fan of the intro action flashback thing that they did at the beginning. Sometimes it's good for like comedy, but most times, as with this game, it comes off as sort of amateur. But the game is priced pretty well. $3 to $5 seems pretty reasonable for that price, and at the $1 tier, it seems like a pretty good buy for anyone who's a fan of this genre. The next game is TIS 100. Now, this is a single-player programming simulation puzzle game. The developer is Zachtronics, who also developed another game in this bundle, Infinifactory, and then one you might be familiar with called Space Chem. It released mid-2015. Its lowest price ever was $2.79, and that was in November of 2016. And so right now, basically. Actually, I think it was earlier this month. Its Metascore, there is no Metascore for it, but it did have 3 reviews, 84, 80, and 70, so not too bad at all. And its user score is 8.4, so pretty solid. This game, though, I'm a little undecided about. So there's a part of me, the adult me, that has limited time and less room in my brain to learn new things, that just wants to sit down and not have a game feel like I'm needing to learn to program, something I can't do very well at all anyway. And there's the other part of me that really enjoys these kinds of cryptic games with unique concepts, absurd ways to play. The weird thing with this game is I was absolutely lost for about 75% of the time that I played. Any successes that you're watching on the video right now, these were all at the end of my play session. Most of the session looked like this. So at the end, I was actually starting to get somewhere, and I probably would have worked on it for about another hour or so, but I sort of needed to move on to test some of the other games. So as part of the $1 tier, this game is worth a try, but probably watch a short video before you get started. Don't be like me. The final game in this tier is Legend of Grimrock 2. It's a single-player RPG dungeon-crawling adventure game. Its developer is Almost Human Games. It released in late 2014. Its Metascore was 85 and its user is 8.0. The lowest price ever was $4.79 in November of 2015. This game makes this tier. It's a nice old-fashioned dungeon crawl RPG. It's got non-distracting graphics. I thought they were pretty good. The game felt challenging, but not impossible. It looks like a very lore-style story to be discovered, and it really makes this tier. If you do nothing else, this game for $1 is a great deal. It's atmospheric, lore-centric, and seems immersive. There's a reason why this game has a high meta and a high user score, and you can pretty much see why. So this is a great start for the bundles, and definitely a solid buy for the first tier. There's really no reason not to get this tier. If you are even a little interested in any one of these games, you will easily get an hour or more out of it. I racked up over an hour just by testing these games. You will most likely pull in many, many more. The second tier is based on average donation. It currently sits at $4.83 and includes 3 more games: Infinifactory, The Secret World, and Dungeons 2. Now, starting with Infinifactory. Infinifactory is a single player. It's a building simulation puzzle game. It's also developed by Zachtronics. It was released mid-2015. It also doesn't have a Metascore yet, but there were 3 scores already in there, 93, 90, and 75, so pretty darn good, and a user score of 8.7, so very, very solid. Its lowest price was $9.99 in November of 2016, so this month. This is another game that I already owned. So like I said, end of the video, there will be some details as to what I'm doing with that extra key that I have. But it had a really fun story going in. But you couldn't see it in this because I had already played this game previously, and so you didn't get to see as much of the story. And I wasn't exactly sure. There wasn't a way to like reset the story or start over, so I just kind of picked up where I had left off the last time I had played it. But it really sort of frames the absurdness of this puzzle game, and it sort of has a Stanley Parable office work feel sort of thing to it. In general, that opening has to do with that people are abducted to make factories. As with most puzzle games, you get more and more objects to make your job more complicated in making whatever it is to solve the problem. And then in this game, like in most others, before you know it, you're creating super elaborate factories. None that I made, obviously. But I did find somebody on YouTube, Xisumavoid, had some really cool ones on his playthrough, which you can kind of check out here. All in all, the average price on Humble Bundle is less than the lowest price ever for this game, which easily slides it into Dollarwise status. So $5 for 6 games, with each one giving you at least an hour or so, seems pretty promising. The second game in this tier is The Secret World. It's a massively multiplayer, Lovecraftian sort of RPG. Its developer is Funcom, and it was released mid-2012. It's got a Metascore of only 74 and a user of 8.2, so not too bad. Its lowest price ever was $7.49, and that was in December of 2012. There was a couple of things I liked about this game, and a few things that I didn't like. One of the things that I liked was the fact that it gives you an option when it goes into the launcher that you can either download the full game or the minimal. The minimal allows you for about 8 hours of gameplay, which is perfect because I didn't want to have to download the whole thing. After I started the game, it took me about 30 minutes to get through character creation, and the character creation was not super robust. It did have some nice features, which I'm always a big fan of character creation, but the cutscenes were just so long. This breakdown for this game, I actually had to break it up into 2 parts because it took me a half hour just to get to play the game after watching all these cutscenes. The game sort of plays much like any other sort of MMO. The movement's a bit difficult to kind of wrap my mind around, but people who are already used to those kinds of games, it's probably not going to be a big deal for them. I do think that they should have probably opened the game with the action sequence that later happened and then went back to kind of explain what was going on. It's interesting, and the Humble Bundle price is better than the best price, but most likely I'm probably not going to play any more of this game. I wasn't terribly impressed, but it does seem to have a lot of content for a decent price, and if this is your type of game, I'd say it's a good deal. Finally, Dungeons 2. Dungeons 2 is a multiplayer fantasy strategy RPG with like management elements. Its developer is Realmforge Studios, and it was released early 2015. Its Metascore was only 70, and its user is 7.1. Now, don't get me wrong, those are still very solid scores. Its lowest price ever was $7.19, and that was in July of 2016. The thing that was kind of annoying was that I had to register a new account on a different launcher for this game, so a little frustrating. I'd prefer to do that as little as possible, but it is what it is. The graphical options were actually pretty nice to adjust. I spent about 30 minutes in this game, and I really sort of wanted to play some more. I was enjoying the humor for the game, and the game concept is solid. But some of the gameplay, namely clicking on units, was a struggle. The hand is cumbersome, and it makes gameplay sort of a chore. For example, here's video of me trying to give a potion to one of my dying orcs. That was frustrating. The game is cute, solid. If it had a stronger gameplay mechanic that didn't annoy me so much, I'd probably be more into it. As such, I can only say that this game isn't worth more than $5 to $7, which makes it fine as part of this bundle, but not really amazing. So the second tier does falter a bit, but all in all, at sub $5, this tier seems like a good buy. Between 3 decent games in the lower tier and acceptable games at the second tier, you should definitely get 5+ hours of entertainment out of these 6 games. If you're an MMO fan, the Secret World on its own will make this bundle. If you prefer puzzlers, there are plenty to explore in both of these tiers, and the final tier requires a donation of at least $14, and on its surface seems promising, but I'll leave the decisions up to you. Tier 3 includes only one game, and that's Grim Dawn. So Grim Dawn is a multiplayer hack-and-slash action RPG. Its developer is Crate Entertainment. It released early 2016. It has a Metascore of 83 and a user score of 8.5. Both of those are great. Now, the one thing that was really weird is the site that I'd use to check lowest prices is called cheapshark.com. And it showed a lowest price of $12.49 in June of 2014, but I double-checked in multiple places, and this game has a release date of early 2016. So I was a little confused. I don't know if maybe there was an early access or something like that, and that's where this price is coming from. So I'm not 100% sure. Full price is $25, so even at $14, that's not terrible. I'm not really disappointed in this game. It seems pretty robust. There's lots to do, lots to explore. The character creation seems pretty entertaining, and the gameplay is solid. It's very Diablo-like, or Path of Exile. I think if you have some friends to pick this up, it's not too bad. $14 might be too much since there are some great free games like Path of Exile, but since this game is worth about $10 and you can probably get at least 4 hours out of other games, it's worth considering. All right, time for some final thoughts. As with the last bundle, the first 2 tiers are definitely a solid choice. If you have an extra $5, I would drop it on the second tier. 6 solid games with many hours of gameplay between them. To justify the third tier, you need to be prepared for at least 9 to 10 additional hours out of that game alone. Now, I believe that there is that much content within that game, but this style of game isn't for everyone, and we don't want you wasting your money on games you will never play. And the $9 that you might spend to get that tier could get you 2 or more 2-tier bundles in the coming weeks. And with the Humble Tycoon Simulator bundle on the site right now, you might want to save that $9 for something in that bundle. So what does this all mean? Well, in the Dollarwise gamer's opinion, the Humble Staff Picks bundle is certainly a Dollarwise deal at tiers 1 and 2. Tier 3 is only Dollarwise if you are a fan of isometric hack-and-slash RPGs. If you're even partly unsure, I'd say hold off. But it's your money, and you don't have to take our word for it. Be Dollarwise with your own money. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to thumbs up this video, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any suggestions for bundles, bundle sites, or games you'd like to get the Dollarwise seal of approval on, shoot us a message on our website, dollarwisegamers.com, or just comment on the video. To help sweeten that pot, and since in purchasing this bundle I ended up with an extra key of the following games: Volume, TIS 100, Legend of Grimrock 2, and Infinifactory. If you take the time to comment, email us, or tweet at us with your thoughts on this bundle, we will randomly choose 4 people and give you one of the 4 keys. So take a moment to just scroll down and shoot us a comment. Thanks again, and as always, enjoy your existence.